Hello, Justin Brown with Interface Death, bringing you another video concerning Ghostbox and Spirit Box, Frank's Box, whatever term you like to use. I would like to talk about their use in our paranormal research and pretty much the differences between the different types of radios or boxes that paranormal investigators use, and specifically what we use and how we do it. When I first started investigating, I went to Radio Shack and got a 12587, which is a very easily hacked radio that allows you to continuously scan through the full spectrum without stopping and without muting as you're scanning. And then probably a few months later, I got the very popular PSB7 Spirit Box that Gary Gulka built. Pretty much that's it. Both the Spirit Boxes are designed around the Frank's Box concept, which is a radio that continuously scans. And I'll give you a brief history on how these devices started being applied to the paranormal field. Way back in the day of Nikola Tesla, he came up with a thing called a crystal radio, and it's pretty much a device with these two coils and pretty much a simple AM radio receiver utilizing crystals. Okay, and what he started discovering with the device is he hooked it up to a speaker and he started receiving strange noises coming through. And this was all new to him at first, and what he was actually picking up is electromagnetic signals coming from natural things like thunderstorms, the earth, due to seismic activity, just general, stuff that you would pick up in the environment. But as it was coming across, it would sound like incoherent speech, sort of like voices speaking a language that he couldn't understand. And he was very much creeped out basically by what he was hearing, and he kind of thought that maybe these are spirit voices. I mean they're like disembodied voices. Back then there was no radio transmissions to be heard of, so the source of these were very mysterious to him. So he started hypothesizing and coming up with ideas that these things might be possibly spirit voices, which later on we discovered that they were not, as far as we knew. And then later, Edison came along. He started messing with receivers that picked up things, and he thought the same thing as well. He thought that they were potentially spirit voices. And as the 20th century progressed, we started getting better radios. We started building FM radios that could scan. We started getting analog chips that could scan through radio stations. And pretty much Frank Sumption, I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing the name correctly, is pretty much the founder of the New Age Ghostbox. And pretty much all he did was modify modern radios to continuously scan through the channels without stopping, kind of like a police scanner. Just think of it that way. Okay, for people who don't know the use or the application of this device in the paranormal field, is the basic idea, as far as I understand it, is the scanning is to pretty much rule out that anything coming across the radio is not just radio transmission. The scanning is supposed to be quick enough to rule out that anything that would come across would be from radio frequencies. Okay, and the basic idea is if spirits are made up of energy, they can use an electromagnetic field to modulate or to manipulate these devices. They can receive those signals. Okay, now the scanning also helps when, you know, an alleged spirit uses the device. If it penetrates the channel scanning, if you can hear the voice or the response or whatever comes across, if you can hear it overlapping many channels, you know, as you're hearing it, that will rule out radio frequency, you know, contamination. So what you're actually trying to get is something that's just not a snippet, just not, you know, just a quick, you know, noise, one syllable, you know, maybe even possibly 2 syllables, depending on how fast you're scanning. So the hypothesis or theory is that when a spirit allegedly, comes across it, it will penetrate the full spectrum. Okay, it's not just one channel; it's the full spectrum. So no matter what frequency you're scanning at the time, it will happen on any station. Okay, if it's being manipulated in that way. Now, spirit boxes can also be used as an ambient, you know, noise for spirits to manipulate as EVPs. Okay, both those things can occur, and I found evidence of both of those things happening. Okay, so they can be used both ways. About a year of research, I'm thinking that most of the time you're going to have so much contamination and noise coming out of the device. Say for this box, for example, okay? This thing, if you put it on AM, it's noisy. If you put it on FM, it's quieter. But the thing is, on FM, the bands are not just coming across, the radio frequencies are not just coming across one channel. They're going to be coming across kind of like a little bit before and a little bit after. So if you listen, if your favorite radio station is 101.9, you're going to be picking up part of that radio frequency on 101.5, 101.6, and all the way through to 102.5 to 6. There's going to be a range that you're going to hear that station come across, okay? And that's kind of bad, because if you're scanning and sweeping through, that station can penetrate through all those channels, and that might give you a false positive when you're trying to get something paranormal to manipulate the device, okay? AM is not like that. Each channel receives one station, and if you change the station, you get a totally different frequency to come across, okay? Now, when they first started coming out with AM radios, the first problem they ran into is very susceptible to interference, okay? Lightning, natural EMF phenomenon will cause a lot of havoc on the radio frequency. If you notice, you're listening to AM radio and there's a lightning storm, all you're hearing is static and interference. So what they did to combat that was to come up with frequency modulation, which is the FM instead of amplitude modulation. Let me start that over. Amplitude modulation is AM. Frequency modulation is FM, okay? I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty nuts and bolts of, you know, the differences between the two, but as long as you understand that FM cannot be as easily interfered with when it comes to those types of things, storms, things that, you know, other electrical devices, other radio frequencies, so on. So FM became more popular. Now, when you're talking about paranormal research, you want to pretty much think, well, if you want things to interfere with the device, AM sounds like a better idea, right? And you're thinking about, as you're scanning through the channels, you don't want bleed through, okay, per channel. So AM, in my opinion, is better to use. Now, it could be way noisy, so that poses a problem, right? So a lot of people do end up using FM. And of course, these devices aren't, you know, designed to be used for ITC. So, you know, you have to find a way to deal with these problems. One of the ways is Faraday cages. If you don't know what a Faraday cage is, pretty much it's a metal screen or cage that you can put around an electrical device. Will pretty much shield it from radio frequencies, other electromagnetic frequencies that may interfere, okay? If you do that, you're just going to get quiet. No radio stations coming through unless you're really, really, really close to a station, like within a few miles. You will get something coming through, but it will filter out 99% of it. The only other way to combat the problem with the contamination of radio frequencies is to go into a tunnel or underground or a cave. Okay, that will kind of, act like a filtering like a Faraday cage does, and that's what I like to do. I like to go to tunnels, caves, underground places, so you're leaving a field around you that's pretty large, and the environment that you're investigating is large, so if a spirit can come in and manipulate your spirit box, it can do so without having to deal with it in a small cage, okay, because that might hinder a spirit from using device. So what I try to do is I try to seek out these places and really dig in to the research of the device and those locations, and I want to present to you those types of locations and evidence I've collected in this video so you can get a feel of what I'm talking about.
Anybody here want to say anything?
Go away.
Did you say go away? What's your name? Nice to meet you. Can you see me? My name is Justin. Just come here to talk to anybody who wants to talk. They call this Crybaby Tunnel. Did a baby die here? Hello? Is anybody here with me right now? What was the baby's name? Anybody out there want to say anything? Anybody down on this end? Anybody out there? What's your name? Timmy, huh? That's cool. Anybody there? Did a woman die here too? What's your name? Anybody out there? How'd you die? Did you kill yourself? Last chance, what's your name?
Now, a lot of people use the devices because the popularity they have with the reality paranormal TV shows like Ghost Adventures. Okay, the PSB7, they did an episode with Gary Golka, told a story, pretty much, you know, endorses and promotes the use of the device in the field of paranormal research. So a lot of people use this type of device. Okay, but I really want to make it clear that you have to be very objective, and you have to know how the radio works, and you have to really have a hypothesis in place in order to prove if it's paranormal or anomalous, whatever's coming across. You have to say that can't be radio, that can't be interference by a, you know, non-paranormal source. Okay, with that being said, the device has, you know, use. Okay, there's been plenty of cases that deal with electronic devices being manipulated to communicate, right? And that is the idea we're wanting to, you know, use when we do the paranormal research part of it. So if you're thinking about using this device, I want you to pretty much take the ideas from this video and kind of, you know, use them. All right, you just don't want to turn the darn thing on, listen to everything that comes across, you know, even though if it's a perfectly timed response and it comes through clear, it does not mean it's paranormal. Okay, most likely it's radio. If you got a whole bunch of crap coming across and noise, it's bad. You want to turn it on in a place where it's just scanning and nothing. Okay, once you achieve that, now you have a nice clean playing field for spirits to come across without having to deal with contamination. All right, and before I end this video, I want you to understand something. Okay, when I turn these devices on, they're not by themselves strong evidence. Okay, supporting evidence, yes. Okay, when you go through your investigation, I want you to try to focus more on EVP work. I want you to try to focus on some type of evidence that's strong. You know, the manifestation of an apparition, a disembodied voice, a very class A EVP, you know, psychokinetic activity. Okay, you know, you don't want to turn on a radio, have something come across and say, ooh, you know, spirit, they said yes or no to my question. You know, you really want to make sure that what's coming across is not real.
Okay, we're going to go ahead with the experiment. Do you want to see if you can name what's in my hand here? What's in my hand? What is in my hand? Okay, can you see what's in my hand? What's in my hand right now? What's in my hand? What's in my hand right now? What is this? Okay, last one. What's this in my hand? What is this in my hand? Can you see me?
No.
If you can see me, can you tell me what's in my fingers, in my hand? What do you see in my hand? What is this? Can you see this? I don't know if that's what I heard. Can you tell me that again? What is this? One more thing. Can you tell me what this is? What's this? I thought I heard it. What's your name?
Well, folks, there you have it. Ghostbox is a useful tool if used correctly, objectively. Be very skeptical what comes across it. Only use it for supporting evidence. What I mean by that strictly is you want what comes across to support what happens in reality. Hold up an object, that's good to name it, okay? Hold up 4 or 5 in a row, allow it to name 4 or 5 of those things in a row, okay? Do things like that. Do try to come up with ways and methods to really prove what's coming across as intelligent, that it's paranormal, okay? You know, I really don't want people going out there thinking that they're going to buy one of these devices, turn it on, and just get loads of spirits to come across. I've been doing this for a year solid, and I'll tell you what, I've only got a handful of things that I really am positive that's paranormal, okay? The rest of it's garbage, right? Throw it out. And I really want you to be good investigators when using these devices as far as, you know, I'm concerned. I want people to know the truth. I want people to understand what's going on, okay? Thanks for watching this video, and stick around. I got a lot more videos coming. There's going to be a lot going on this summer. The documentaries are going to slow down, but the documentaries I will do are going to be good, okay? The tutorials, the educational things I'm going to be releasing, there are going to be a lot of them, okay? So just stand by, tune in, and thanks for watching.